There's something pretty funny that I'm going to go ahead and point out. So, today, and keep in mind, I know what the date, April 1st, 2024, April Fool's Day. By the way, I'm dead serious about this, what I'm about to say, because this just popped up on my Reddit. And you know how things only pop up when they're relevant when it comes to Reddit? Well, time doesn't matter when it comes to Reddit. What matters is the relevance of the post. So, today, while talking about how some, negotiations when it comes to the whole situation with aid need to fucking happen, there's no more time, like Bo from Bo with the Fifth Column has been saying, there is no more fucking negotiations. Like, it's been past time. Well, needless to say, post pops up from 12 years ago. It ends up mentioning an incident with a video that I would say is only equated really with the allegory that's represented by the videotape from the Ring album series, or The Ring. All right. Well, when he had to go ahead and try to justify the means of torture, post September 11th, he had to, first off, because there was a videotape that could have been compromising to national security, everybody in that room that day all agreed that tape should not and cannot exist. All right? Anybody who knows what's on that tape, and the reason that they know what's on that tape is because of the factor that they were the ones who were hired to go do the manipulation, or ended up seeing the final byproduct to end up seeing, wow, people with a grudge, the lengths that they'll fucking take it. I know they don't see the consequences in their actions, but yeah, whoever had this idea said, fuck it. I want to destroy all of us, myself included. So apparently, all right, now keep in mind, same tape that people have been talking about. Oh, yeah, the tapes are, extorting the upper echelon, that whole situation. That isn't that the same tapes that keep getting referenced over and over and over again, or that people have tried to, in some way or another, connect to Hunter Biden and tried being like, well, see, you know, just make it easy on us, make it easy on us, make it easy on us, make it easy on us. And it's like, hey, James Comer, I want to clarify something. So you want to have hearings and committees on what's defined as torture, what classifies as torture. Torture could be implemented on civilians, or, moral ethicalities, the legal implications. And you said that you were fully believing that the government was going to go ahead and back you and make sure that you didn't end up locked up, you know? So you ended up having a full blown security symposium to go ahead and talk about the full ethicality. So imagine being more than 12 years into this fucking conversation. And guess what? we're at the point that we were then. You know why? First off, when John Rizzo died, by that point he had completely disavowed every torture idea and tactic that he had had, and said that he did not support the government using them. All right? Keep in mind, this is the creator of waterboarding. All right? So if the creator of a process, before dying, says, do not trust my process, do not make this the field standard. You listen to that creator of that process, and you do not make it field standard. Do you know the reason? I know the reason not to do that. And do you know why that is? Because any corners that were cut by the original creator, before death, yeah, they didn't get to see the damage that the the implementation of their process would cause. All right? So, that being said, now, another factor. Do you know, apparently, with how long tortures existed, me not being the only person that's been tortured before. All right? And keep in mind, just because, wasn't tortured in a militarily hostile environment does not mean that I was not tortured in a perpetually hostile and abusive environment for decades. Decades. All right? So, that being said, to go ahead and act like, for example, wanting to talk about honesty. All right? Trying to act like anybody not willing to put themselves behind a polygraph test is automatically a liar. No. Well, you wouldn't be afraid to get behind the test if you had nothing to hide as far as the truth goes. No. It's not even that. It's the fact that the person that created the polygraph test specifically said, do not use this for prosecution uses. Do not use this to gauge if somebody is going to end up being sentenced or not. All right? There is specific words when, expert witnesses end up going ahead and testifying. All right? After explaining the process, when the effectiveness is asked, there are these special words during testimony that end up coming out. All right? Within a set scientific certainty. All right, so do you know what that means? Well, it's accurate as far as we think. Whereas certain as science is going to let us be, but we're also certain that there are many potential flaws when it comes to not only the machine, but also when it comes to whoever it is that's applying the polygraph and who's, trying to set the baseline in the interrogation. So that was one person that went to discredit their life's work right before they died. If the guy said the lie detector was not scientifically certain enough to be able to use for a measure to guarantee conviction, and, it's actually been respected, by the way. Like, when it comes to forensics, understanding polygraphs, it seems like it's a never-changing art. So, like, if you learned how to read a polygraph back when they first came around and everything, you don't need to recertify. Like, you understand actually the process. But point that I'm making, the factor that we are talking about if a video does or does not exist, or is, or was, or can be used, that John Rizzo, the creator of waterboarding, ended up saying, this can't exist. This cannot exist. Because of also understanding the implications of it tied in. The conspiracy theories that would pop up. But here we are 12 years later, and no, there's no danger of conspiracy theories. There's no, risk of somebody potentially wanting to create an alternate story to try to revive a dead horse that should be in the ground. Which, by the way, John Rizzo, if I remember correctly, was the chief of the Security Council. All right. So, if the guy that created waterboarding was saying, you need to fucking let this go. Like, I'm taking this to my grave. All right? He rejoiced at the fact that the government wasn't able to successfully torture the information. Super proud of that. Took it to his grave. So, I mean, the person that thought up the torture has also been through the torture. If you've been through the torture, you'll understand. You're not fucking snapping back. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a part of you that is going to snap back, but there's a part of you that never fucking comes back. Like, the point that I'm making, though, the factor that 12 years after this situation had been brought from war rhetoric to an attempt at diplomacy, which it literally took, the realization of the United States to realize, like, hey, so that instigating into a war situation and those forever wars, United States is known for, yeah, well, we're fucking tired of that happening every decade, so, yeah, there needs to be some fucking permanent solutions that are thought up. Because trying to sow division, that tactic. Listen, divide and conquer, it's only effective for so long. Ultimately, when people try to divide and conquer, the only way to be able to survive, become cross-eyed. Why? So you could follow both of their misdirection.